Well, husband's really been into resin tables lately, doing resin tabley stuff. So he is he's working on another one, and he asked me to do some stuff with it. So I'll show ya. So he has this slab right here, which we think is silver maple, but it has a crack here, and he doesn't want to fill that up with resin. He'd like to put some bow ties in there. So he asked me, can you put some bow ties in that? And I thought, well, bow ties are boring. So I was going to do circles. But then the whole idea of a bow tie is to keep the crack from getting bigger, right? So if you put a circle in there, it can still come apart. So I thought, well, I could put like a squiggly line in, something other than a bow tie. And then finally I was like, fine, I'll just try to do a bow tie. So I cut some bow ties out. And I'm just going to put the bow ties in like this, I think. Put one on this other end too. And then I thought I would do some little circles too, not for holding it together, but just for fun design. And I've never done bow ties before, so I guess I shouldn't be knocking them because I know they're hard and stuff, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to try it. And then, of course, after I get it in there, if I'm successful, I will love it. But anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm going to try to do, is do some bow ties. Alrighty, I'm gonna try and do something that I saw the Wood Whisperer do, Mark. And I don't know if it's gonna work or not for me, but I'm gonna try it and hopefully it works. So first I'm going to double stick tape these down where I want them to go. Exactly. Diagonal like that. Okay. Now I'm going to trace them with my X-Acto knife. Make a little cut mark where they meet the wood. Now I'm going to take a pencil and just trace around into that groove of the mark I made. Hopefully it'll go in the groove of the mark I made. Right, now I'm going to take my Dremel with my plunge router and I'm going to try to router those areas out. Ah! Take those off. Oops, I should mark them. This is number 1. Mark 1, 2, and 3. This is 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Okay, I'm really excited about this and really nervous about it too. I suppose I should get the dust collection going also. I always forget. Mask first, then ears. Dust collection. Right away, I found that the scored line I made needed to be bigger. So I went over that X-Acto knife line with the chisel, going back over all of the bow tie outlines. I've switched to a little more power. So I switched to my little trim router, and I'm using, I don't know what kind of bit it is, but Can you see it? It's a little tiny, 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 tiny bit. And this was a lot better than the Dremel, and I followed within the inside of those chisel lines, making a ditch all the way around the inside border of the bow ties. And I checked the bows, then chiseled some. Adjusted the little bit a tad deeper, then made another pass. Checked some more with the bows and chiseled some more until they were fitting into the cavity. I'm going to switch to this burr or bit and clean out the areas. Then cleaned them out and made them deeper with this bigger bit. Going over it a few times, making the bit deeper with each pass. Until finally they were fitting in there with a little depth and snug. I don't know how it's gonna look, but I guess we'll just see. I do want to add some circles though, just for fun. And I have some plugs. Some plug bits, I guess. And so I thought I'd just make a few circles of different sizes. But I want to see, you know, what that's going to look like. It was going to be, if I like it. 3. So those are going to be there like that. And circles. So I placed those circles of 3 sizes all around here and there. Okay, I've got those little dots. Kind of just random. I kind of like it. I'm just gonna start drilling little holes. So, yep. And drilled out the holes for the smallest size, which was 1/8 of an inch. I'm gonna show you the other end. So this is what I have going on here. There's a crack here, so I thought I'd put these like that and then just do random around the bow tie. I know I ended up putting circles in that little crack, but I'm not too worried about that one expanding since epoxy will fill it most likely. So I drilled the medium holes, which were 3/8 of an inch, and the larger holes, which I'm not sure what their measurements were exactly. Then glued the circles in the holes, using the mallet to help and wiping away any excess glue. Then glued in the bow ties and drove them down a bit with the mallet. And cleaned up that excess glue. Well, looks like lots of repair work ahead. Hey, it's the new day. I'm gonna bust off the tops. I've been doing it here. I'm just gonna make them shorter so I can sand them down. Fix them up. I thought this was a good idea until I chiseled out too deeply. So I glued that piece back in and let it dry and hoped it wouldn't be noticeable. I used the chisel to shorten them down a little bit, but I made one go below the height of the wood. So I glued it back together, and now I'm going to use a rasp to see if I can smooth all that down. And the rasp worked really well. Nice! Then I sanded it with the orbital with 120 and 150 grit. And you couldn't tell that one had been repaired, but there were some serious gappy problems. It was horrible. Horrid. Horrible. an idea though. How about I router with the Dremel, a little tiny router bit, right around the outside of this so that it has an even space all the way around. See? Yuck! But if it had even space all the way around on all these bow ties, then yeah, maybe that would look okay. I'm thinking anything is going to look better than that. So I tried it out. Well, what do you know? That looks better. Yay! That looks better already! Already! Yeah! Already! Yeah! I find it easier to control when pulling the Dremel towards me, so I positioned myself around the bow ties so that I could do that, pull the Dremel towards me. I think that's much better. Look at that. Woo, yeah. Yay. Woo, good. And a happy dance ensued. Okay, I'm excited about this. So I have this whole piece here and I am just going to tape off the back with some Gorilla Tape. This stuff seems to work really well for keeping resin in. All right, I am using this Maker Epoxy, and I poured 3 ounces of each, which might be too much, but I'm going to fill this void in, and it's just a real thin void, as you can see. Alexa, set an alarm for 3 minutes. You know what, I'm going to do the other side first. Let's turn that around. All right, there we go. Alexa, stop! Now I can mix in my black. I poured the black into the crack and into the area I routered out around the bow ties. Once I had the cracks filled in, then I scraped off the excess resin. And pop the surface bubbles with a torch. Well, we'll just see how it looks tomorrow. I think it's looking pretty cool right now. Yay! It's been curing for a few days now. I'm really curious about sanding it up. That Gorilla Tape was a chore to remove. Then sanded away the excess resin with 80 grit. I think it looks great. Yay! Once I had the excess resin all sanded off, then I moved to the sides and sanded the live edges free from bark and rough areas. It was super easy to do using the Jawhorse clamp thingy. Then I hand sanded with 180 grit paper on all those edges and the top surface of the board. Then I cleaned it up with mineral spirits, sanding any scratches that showed up after I wiped the spirits on there. And with one final wipe of the mineral spirits, it was all ready for the resin. Alrighty, I am using the Make Epoxy from Total Boat. And I am using, I used the resin calculator, 11 inches by 40 something, I can't remember now. But it told me 5 and 5, or 5.5 and 5.5. So I've got 5 and 5. And I'm going to mix that up now for 3 minutes. Alexa, can you set an alarm for 3 minutes? Mixy mix slowly. Alexa, how much time is left? Thank you. All right, I moved over here because I want to see those bow ties. Yeah, how they looks. I'm excited about it. Okay. I found that I really like spreading this resin by hand. Ooh-wee. Look at that. Ooh, I like it. I like it. Yeah. It's pretty. It's pretty. So pretty. Now to hit it with the torch. And I set the timer for 10 minutes and hit it again with the torch and did this 2 more times after that, pulling out any fuzzies or things that had landed on it. And I covered up with a sheet of plywood right away and then remove it for each torching episode. It's the next morning! Gonna take a look at it. Woo! I'm excited! Woo! He's excited too.
Oh man.
Whoa, ho, ho. Look at that. Look at it. Whoa. Check it out. Woo! Got all the little nubbins on the back. I'll have to sand off. But wow. It looks good.
Oh man.
I love it. I used 150 grit to sand off the nubbins of the resin that pooled underneath the board. Then added a verse to the back, which is Psalm 92. Before the mountains were born and before you created the earth and the world, you are God. You have always been and you will always be. Yep. There. And here it is from the 3 bow ties on one end to the other side with the 3 circles and 1 bow tie. I'm happy how the outlines in black resin hid the messed up inlays. So now I'm going to hand the project off to husband and he is going to make it into a couch table.
Sofa table.
A sofa table. Is there a difference? I don't know. A table that's high like that behind a couch or a sofa. Or a davenport or whatever people call it. So thanks for watching everyone and we'll see you next time. Bye!